27.
Om Shanti, everyone. Welcome. Welcome to this Monday workshop series, and especially today is a special day. Today we are going to share special experiences with Sr Chandru. So we have all the pillars of San Francisco and the West Coast service instruments with us who are going to share how this yagya started, how Sr Chandru started this whole movement here. So we have with us Brother Pierre, so we have Surinder Bhai, we have Mohan Dada, we have Dwayne Bhai. So hopefully we'll have Sister Elizabeth, and they're on the way. So without any further ado, so I'll ask Brother Pierre to unmute himself.
Thank you, Harshabai. You've been such a support through this whole process of Sr Chandru's transition and the whole family's adjustment and acceptance and appreciation and support for each other and for Sr Chandru's presence in our lives, acknowledging all the virtues that we share in common, and also the unique qualities that she brought to each one of us. And so I want to thank you, Harsha Bhai, Brother Harsha, for this role that you're playing and holding us all together. And I think when I first heard about Chandru Ben's transition, a brother from Turkey who has an online class, and he runs all the centers in Turkey. And he said, "Can you give me her bio data? I want to describe Sr Chandru to my group, because many of the people have never, really had much contact with the founders of the Brahma Kumaris, people like Sr Chandru, who knew Brahma Baba, and so they want to hear." And I said, well, okay, let me try to find her right now, And so I reached out to the sisters, Elizabeth and Hema. Is there a bio data? And then he said, well, why don't you just share? Because he had a class the next day, a Wednesday. It was a Tuesday, I think we talked. And so I went online on Tuesday, just shortly after hearing Sr Chandru's, completion of her journey in this life. And the first thing that I said was, wow, I'm so happy for her achievements and her completion. It just kind of came out, but it was a very natural. Of course, it has a strong impact when someone that significant leaves, but it's not a sorrow, but an acceptance, and even there's a fullness that we experience. Just every day, new stories and new memories are emerging. And so she had a great impact on all of us. I met Sr Chandru in 1979 when she had been in San Francisco along with Sister Denise doing service for about a year, maybe a little less, and they were adventurous people. I was a young lad who was just starting my meditation practice and coming to San Francisco from up Northern California once a week to a meditation center. And then when I found out about what the Brahma Kumaris were doing in San Francisco, I shifted my focus to volunteering with them and learning from them, and from the atmosphere that these two sisters were creating just through their meditation power in this little one-bedroom apartment in San Francisco. There was a core of people who came, and they were drawn to the center just from the atmosphere that they created by their remembering Shiv Baba and Brahma Baba. Brahma Baba encouraged everybody he met to pull power from Shiv Baba and to be soul conscious. And then he taught their teachers, the dadis, the elders, and they taught these younger goddesses, and they were traveling around the world. So I didn't know any of this. All I knew is I liked Brahma Baba. He was different than the gurus who I was familiar with. I'd studied with many gurus, and I was just 21, but I'd already been studying meditation and spiritual. But I liked the flavor and the vibrations that these sisters had at the center. I didn't know the level of their spirituality. I just knew that there was something different here and some new information that was coming. And I liked Brahma Baba. I liked his face and his naturalness. And I felt this fella has something. Now, when Sister Chandru would talk about Brahma Baba, she brought it to life. She brought him to life. And I'm sure, to speak for many of us, we got a sense of him as a real person, not as an abstract spiritual teacher or something, but he was a real person who we got to know through Sister Chandru, for example, particularly Sister Chandru, because she knew him as a little person growing up. So, I mean, I could rattle on and on and on. So please let me know when you want me to stop. But Sister Chandru was the doorway for me to real India, real Indian spirituality, which was within the family. Brahma Baba encouraged family people to practice spirituality and to not to necessarily go out to just a priest or a temple or something, but to divinize their own homes. And what Sister Chandru, Sister Denise were doing was they were doing the disciplines that were made it that brought that spirituality into a tangible force field. When you came and sat in that little room with the carpet and the pillows, there was no chair, no table, just there was one carpet and a bunch of pillows around, and there was a picture of Brahma Baba on the mantelpiece and a small seat where the sisters would conduct the Morley classes, the divine discourses. Okay. It was amazing. And then they were doing open-eyed meditation. So Sister, either Denise or Chandru, sometimes both, but one or the other would sit and then conduct meditation. So we would just sit all around, mostly on the walls, because there were 5 or 6, 7 people. So we each had a corner of that room. And they would sit and look around for a minute or two at each one of us. Drishti, it was called. And we got spiritual gaze from these goddesses, these divine people who were like us. They were human beings, but they had a spirituality. They had an angelic presence or a Shakti, a spiritual power that I learned about. And so Shiv Baba, yes, he came in Brahma Baba and he revealed information to us all, to humanity, but it was coming drop by drop in the form of the 7-lesson course about the soul and the supreme soul, right? And the cycle of time, the 3 world. And all this was in real life time, in real time. So fascinating. And Sister Chandru was a pillar. Sister Denise, it was always like, okay, where's Sister Chandru? We need her there. She is this magic power. She was this filled in this empty space for Sister Denise, who had all the intellectual knowledge and she had the faith, and she had deep experiences also with Brahma Baba's main student, Dadi Janki, who started service in the West. So she was powerful, and she would I first had the course with Sister Denise, the first lesson, but Sister Chandru had another energy, which was equally important to making the center run, and that was this simplicity and authenticity and purity of a practical, common sense human being who was also having faith in God, faith in spirituality, and she saw goodness in people. She brought it out. I remember after a few lessons, I was invited to come. I would come twice a week from out of town. So I was there was a picnic. So I heard about the picnic, and I came to the center late, and I said, well, okay, Sister Chandru answered me. She said, okay, the picnic's in Golden Gate Park. So I went. I still couldn't find it. So I went back and knocked on the door. I got lost. I mean, I don't know. Was it? She goes, oh, come on. All right, I'm going now. So you come with me. So here I am, this basically a brand new fellow, She says, come along with me. And we drove to the picnic. And then there was all these wonderful people there. And I was lucky enough to be a part of that gathering. So, yeah, I mean, there's just so many stories about Sister Chandru. She always saw the good in people and the potential, what was useful for service, what good qualities they had. And she didn't ignore the negativity, but she pushed it aside, you see, because each soul has potentials. And so she took what was useful and encouraged that in godly service, in promotion, in helping the family grow. I mean, see, we are old souls and we're all thrown together to do something miraculous. And part of it is just us sitting in the same room together. We're an unlikely group of people, but we make heaven through acceptance of each other and acceptance of ourselves. And also letting Baba do the work. She let Baba do things, Many people are trying to control things too much, but she knew how to let Baba take care of things too. And, we all know that even Brahma Baba now is spending time with her. Apparently in trance messages, Sister Mohini, our administrator, our main administrator in the West now, she mentioned that Brahma Baba is with her in the subtle regions, that he's keeping her there for a little extra time. She's worked very hard for 73 years and really achieved so much. It's just amazing. When we were driving up north, I was lucky enough to drive Sister Gita and Sister Chandru up to Seattle back in maybe 92 or 93. And we stopped in Eugene on the way up to Seattle. And she liked this place. And, there was Sister Harriet had a house, and she was a very beautiful soul. She had things going on, service going on in Eugene. But she looked around and she said, Pear, this is your town. She was worried. She was like, San Francisco's a little too wild for Pear. He likes to play music and go out to folk music clubs and stuff. And she wanted me to be around good company. And even Daddy Junkie had that. When I was in London visiting '89, she said, you just need good company. I was so happy, so blissed out. She's like, you just need good company. So Sister Chandru was a godmother for me, and she knew where I would be best suited, what would be useful for my growth, and how I could be of service to humanity. So I'm in Eugene now, and I'm happy to be here. Thank you, Sister Chandru. Wise decision to send me here. I spent about 6 months in California 2 years ago and did a little service. It was very refreshing to be close to the San Francisco family where I first started my spiritual journey. So, yeah.
Thank you, Brother Pear.
Yes.
So now we've collected a wonderful group here of souls that have known Sister Chandru over the decades. And what better way than to remember Sister Chandru and the wonderful experiences that soul had given us. And I'll just mention from my end, and I couldn't help but also be inspired by what Brother Pear was saying and the kind of personality and how accommodating Sister Chandru was, and I still like to say is, because she still feels very present for me. And I've heard that from many souls, that they feel her presence. Yes. And one thing that I really noticed is, and I've also heard her say, how happy she was to be in with different cultures, different backgrounds. She really gravitated to diversity. And so interfaith came to her naturally. And they had asked the Brahma Kumaris to come on board for in the 90s, 80s and 90s. And it just somehow, it was the decade for interfaith organizations to start. And she was a founding member of 3 of those interfaith organizations: United Religions Initiative, San Francisco Interfaith Council, and the Interfaith Council of the Presidio. And the first one was the San Francisco in '89, because there was an earthquake. And I remember taking her to the meetings and picking her up from those meetings. And it was quite dynamic. All the heads of the different religions were there to begin conversations. And Sr Chandru was amazing. And she made good friends, and they stayed friends for many decades. And it was lovely to hear their experiences, and they shed tears of love for Sr Chandru. And her life and her legacy had made such an impact on them. It was very touching to hear. And it kind of reminded me how special she was. And I feel that I took her for granted. I feel I didn't really appreciate what an amazing soul she is. But in the last few years, she really shined. She was like an angel. It was a pleasure to be in her company. It was an honor to be with her, just to take her somewhere or to play, do exercises and things with her, and have conversations. And of course, she loves anything where we're in a gathering and we're all together. But whatever the background, whatever the orientation, even whatever the religion, whatever culture, she never even said, "Oh, I embrace everyone." She never, advocated for, diversity. She didn't say, "Oh, we should do this, we should do that." She just did it. She just engaged with people, and people felt welcomed. So that's one special quality that I'm really have taken from her. And so now I'd like to welcome Sister Hema to say a few words.
Many things to share, but I'll keep it short. And would come to, San Francisco pilgrimage place. How Baba would say that all Baba centers in the golden age will be our picnic places, right? So anybody who went to London, Daddy made sure they went to Baba Bhavan, Tennyson, everywhere, right? So this a big picnic place, right? San Francisco. I always feel that when there was nobody there and you had the courage to start, that's the greatest thing. Like the other day I was talking about seed, how important the seed is. And whenever I give an introduction and I say San Francisco Art Parent Center, and I always say, I said, in the Western world, that was the biggest property Brahma Kumaris got. Even London didn't have it that big. When this was purchased, London only had Baba Bhavan. So she said, but why do you tell everybody like that? I said, I'm only telling the truth, no? She said, why you tell like that always? I said, in those days, to get a place like this was not a small thing. About 1986, you know, and for her, when I think about it, I always tell people, I said, she did the biggest thing was Baba made her instrument to get this place. You know, I know that 10 years ago, I saw a couple of centers in other places here, and I was surprised. It was a house. But she was very far-sighted, you know, where the house was and to put the brothers upstairs and how Baba's service can begin. And you can imagine, you know, no bathroom, but still, to make the bathroom and all the facilities and everything. So I see that as an amazing quality. And I remember when I was in Los Angeles, obviously Sister Denise was the instrument because she needed some help. And that's how I went to Los Angeles. And then, you know, how drama unfolds in a different way. And so Sister Denise was not in the picture. And so at one point,
To say a few words.
I was asked whether I would like to connect with San Francisco, New York, Los Angeles Bay Center. And obviously, you know, San Francisco is the closest, right? And I remember that every time we saw a property in Los Angeles to buy for Baba, she would come in the flight to see the place. Whether it be every week or twice a week or whenever, she would come, you know, and we'd have the most amazing time. Atma will be there, I will be there, we'll have an ice cream and have fun time, you know. And so those are really good memories. Even in Anupati, you know, the kitchen, she would say, make the wall this high. I remember that, where the staircase are, wall this high. And they'll say, okay, we're going to put the racks like this. We're going to put the spice rack like this, like this. You know, very organized and a lot of far-sightedness to be able to see that. And so many qualities that the soul had. And again, like I was saying that, you know, she always, whoever came in front of her, she always saw that whatever they're able to do for Baba, what can they do for Baba? And she would make sure that that soul was encouraged to do that for Baba. She says, all I think about is Baba's service is done. That's all. You know, she didn't worry about the nature of sanskars or whatever. The fact that Baba's service got accomplished. And so many qualities like that. Like the other day I was saying that, you know, because both of us spoke Gujarati, there was nobody else. So in the daytime we will call. And if I didn't call, then she'd say, oh, you didn't call me today. You know, or she would come to Anubhuti and she says, you know, take me out. I want to do shopping. You come with me. Nobody else comes with me. Nobody else does this. And so that one-on-one personal relationship. And when I'm driving her somewhere, she'll tell me everything. You know, this person like this happened, that happened, everything. So there was never a feeling of, you know, like the other day I have said that she's senior and I'm junior. Never ever that feeling of that distance was never there. I remember this was like 2-3 years ago. She came to Anubhuti and I took her out. And I took her out to buy something. And I could not make a left there. And it was a new road for me. So I made a left and the police car was there. And she says to me, Hema, you're done today. You had it today because I made a left. And then I said, okay, fine. I was just remembering Baba, whatever. And then I took the car further and I parked. And the police guy came up to me and he was looking at Sister Chandru and he's looking at me, right? Both white sari, right? And then he says, who is she? He's asking me. And I said that she's my senior teacher, meditation center, you know, whatever I said. He looked at her again and he looked at me again. And then he asked me to look at the paperwork. So I showed him the paperwork and I said, I'm very sorry, whatever. So he could tell that I was very genuine, looking at her face and my face. And he said, okay, you can go, but next time be careful. So, you know, that present helps, that vibration helps, because she was totally quiet. Because I had gone wrong, but she was quiet. So again, you know, lots of memories with her. And so thank you very much. Om Shanti.
Thank you, Sister Hema. That was wonderful, lively. we're seeing all the different facets of Sister Chandru. She certainly was not a boring personality. She was multifaceted, but she was also very calm, very steady, sometimes even serious. But she knew what was going on. So now I'd like to invite Brother Jayesh to say a few words.
Om Shanti. So I had good, right? So when I came here to San Francisco and Anubhuti last year in March, and I met Chandru Ben, and I remember this very well. This was the first time I met Chandru Ben, and the very first week of me coming here to San Francisco and Anubhuti, and we were offering bhog, and while we were offering bhog with her, Baba gave me this very vivid, clear feeling, like a deja vu, that you have been here before, you have come here before. And right next to her, I could feel her power and energy. And this was the first experience I had with her. And the last 1 year, I had so many beautiful experiences just being around her. But to keep it short and simple, I'll just say one more. The last experience I had with Chandru Ben. So when she came to Anubhuti the week before, she left body, and she had she gave everybody Baba's ring, and she fed totally to everyone. And when she came this time, I don't know how, but I had this feeling and had this thought that she doesn't have much time. And I don't know why I got this thought, but I felt like she doesn't have much time. And that's when I told Hema Ben that I want to go to San Francisco and meet her more often. And few days later, we got the news that she had a stroke. And the day when she left body, that morning at Amrit Vela, I saw this beautiful angel smiling, happy. And I didn't know who that angel was, but when I took a closer look, it was Chandru Ben smiling and happy in the subtle region. And in that very moment and instance, I knew she's already there with Baba, and she's gonna leave the body. And a few hours later, I got the news that from Hema Ben that you have to come to hospital. She has left the body. And so I felt like when you have bhavna and feelings, Baba does respond to you. And her presence was felt in the house whenever I used to come here to San Francisco and live upstairs with the brothers. I could feel her presence in the house, whether she was inside the house or no, because she's like this ball of energy who's to radiate vibrations of purity, peace, even though she wasn't consciously doing much, but her presence would just do so much service and sustain everyone. Thank you. Om Shanti.
Thank you, Brother Jayesh. That was very sweet. And we also have online is Brother Jignesh. If you would like to share with us. He lived here in the San Francisco Center for many, many years and knows Sister Chandru very well.
Om Shanti, everyone. and bon voyage to sisters who are headed to New York. Have a great trip and have a great meeting. And Brother Per, you look Per Baba. I think we have to change your name to Per Baba.
Dada. He's Dada now.
Yeah. Chandru, those who know me, Chandru Ben and I were very close. Very different experience than what Hema Ben said. I drove her many service places. Other day, Sushila Mata was saying about class in Danville. I drove her every Friday after my work, and we would drive, and she would always quiet. She wouldn't share who is doing what, to be honest with me. But we had the thought communication. We didn't talk much during the driving, and I'm kind of person I like to stay quiet while I'm driving. But Chandru Ben, first I met her in Los Angeles when I was studying at university there, doing my master's degree at the USC. And Chandru Ben used to come. The sisters were there, were Dini's sister and Sister Joan, and Chandru Ben were visiting. Probably with Per by drove her from San Francisco. I'm not sure, but we talked, and I was about to graduate from the college. And, next step after finishing studies to find a job. And it was getting difficult to find a job being a chemical engineer. And, we in America, we don't build new refineries, being environmental conscious. So there's no expansion of refineries. So very hard to find job for chemical engineers at that time. So she kept bugging Surendra Bhai, who is also on the call. Hey, find this guy a job so he can come to San Francisco and, live with us here and do service. And I think it took some time. Surendra Bhai kept looking for me. We applied a few times. And then I came up for interview when I think Dadi was here, perhaps. And with the blessings, I did manage to get a job. And over the years, we did tons of service. And I think most remarkably, the whole Anubhuti project was, she always made us very conscious about economical way of doing things. And quality also. If you talk in a regular world, quality and cheap don't go together. But Chandru Ben wanted to make sure we get good quality, but also, less expensive. So she made me realize that every dollar or every fund come to the center is very invaluable, and we have to do our best to use that fund in a wise way and to the right place and the right time, right? So a lot of lessons learned from her. I think if I think of her is probably the best executive director, you could say that, who knows all sides of the equation, both sides. So, she actually thinks through like other side, how they feel, and before she makes decision. Many management in the world, they generally listen one side, but Chandru Ben made sure that she's impartial and listens to all sides. I think one of my best observation about her is I think she was one of the best conflict resolution person. Every time you go to her, she has very simple advice for you to solve whatever challenges you're going through. And her advice is do more meditation and come to Murli and churn Murli. I think that's always her advice. Very simple, but also practical, very practical person. Nothing fancy gyan, very simple, but very pragmatic solutions to any problem. As I think Elizabeth said, I lived in the center for 20 years, and we were 5 brothers, right? And I was the only Gujarati brother there, and often you miss the food, right? Gujarati food, because not that these brothers cooked excellent food, no question about it. Mohan Bhai cooked very well. Shepherd's pie, Mohan Bhai, right? He did amazing cooking. Per Bhai, Messi Bhai, Mario Bhai, and myself. And we made efforts together, programs together, and Chandru Ben would meet all 5 brothers sometime on weekend to go through the, everybody's okay, anything we can, how do we make more service, and always very inspirational for us brothers. As I think message on weekend that we don't say we miss her. I think we love her, what she did for us and for the San Francisco family. And she has inspired many, many people, not only us BKs, but even outside people when they, remember her, they appreciate that. So, no, I really had, amazing journey with her, and she'll be always inspirational. I think she always told us, look, anytime you want to think about solving problem, think how Brahma Baba could have handled this situation. So she always pointed us to Brahma Baba, follow Brahma Baba, how he would address this challenge in a Laukik world. Even though she never worked in a regular job or anything, but she could still guide you through your problem of Laukik job. She knew exactly how to, because she realized the soul and how the behavior of the people are, right? And she could always find any problem, even though she hasn't walked that path, but she knows how to handle the situation and help others to find solutions. I'll leave it at there. Probably as time goes, more and more, stories will come out. And I was going through my photographs the other day, and I just couldn't believe 25 years ago how young we all looked and how energetic, and we're still young at heart. And she has left the legacy and all the establishment here in Bay Area that I think we just need to keep up and keep her vision alive and her, in her memory, and just keep going and keep, realizing and revealing Baba, because that's what she wanted us to do. So thank you for this opportunity to share, and thank you, Chandru Ben and everyone. Om Shanti.
Om Shanti. Thank you so much, Brother Jignesh. I really feel we're bringing those days here on, not only, here in San Francisco, but I think within this conversation, this sharing. And so I'd love to ask Brother Mohan to share a story of your experience with Sister Chandru.
Om Shanti. I'm going to go back to when I came into Gyan. And so I guess I was in my honeymoon stage then with heightened awareness. I think that usually goes with that honeymoon stage. Baba makes sure that we experience everything we have to experience with very little effort. And so I was studying people coming to the center and seeing what their stage is. And I was studying Chandru Ben, and I came to the conclusion that she had unbroken remembrance. And from that day, I've been in Gyan for 40 years. I came into Gyan in 1980, and this is when I came to that conclusion. She had unbroken remembrance. And I think from that day, and probably quite a while even before that, but because she came into Gyan at age 12. And so as long as I've known her, I think her stage was unbroken remembrance. And so a couple of weeks after that, a couple of seniors came by we had a program for them, and they were in the center. And I can't quite remember who it was, but I think it might have been Didi Manmohini and Ramesh, Brother Ramesh Shah. And course, they had such a wonderful stage too for me to examine at the time. And so when Dee Dee was experiencing, if it was indeed Dee Dee, but it was definitely a Dottie, and she picked up on Dottie's or on Chandru Ben's stage, and she called it Unbroken Remembrance, and she was talking to us, and of course Chandru Ben, about what that meant to a BK to have unbroken remembrance. I don't remember exactly what she said, but I'll let it go at that. Another thing that happened when I came into Gyan was I had just finished the course, and I was starting to come into the Murley classes. And at that time, I was living in Livermore. I had a house in Livermore. And so I would come to the center on weekends. I would stay the whole weekend. And so Denise Ben and Chandru Ben were the administrators at that time, both of them. And so I don't know which one said it, but one of them said, we would like to use your pickup this weekend. Can we use it? There's a parade. It was a St. Patrick's Day parade. And so they wanted to make a float out of the pickup that I had. And so we made a float out of it. And I made a cycle out of a 4-leaf clover. It would have been a lot better if I'd have turned the clover upside down, and had the stem being the cycle, but it wouldn't look so good. So we didn't do that. But anyway, that was on the float, and a couple of sisters were on the float. Not sure what they represented, but
Lakshmi and Narayan.
Was it? Are you sure?
Yeah, they were dressed up as Lakshmi and Narayan.
Oh, okay.
And it said the luck of the Irish, and it was the cycle. So because it's Irish parade.
And so then I went to Madhaban soon after that, and came in front of Baba. He was having the individual sessions, with all of us. And he said, one of the first things he said, you've been able to do service from the very beginning. So obviously he knew about that thing that we did with the pickup. And so I'm not going to say a whole lot more. I think we're only supposed to talk for 3 minutes, right, Dwayne?
Sure.
So yeah, over the years,
Dada,
I knew Chandru Ben for 40 years, and
Dada,
well,
Dada,
Yeah.
it's me. Dada, tell us who gave you the first lesson. We'd like to know who gave you the first lesson.
okay. Chandru Ben actually gave me the first lesson, but I had just fallen from a bhakti path. I was following a guru for 3 years, and I was still up in the air, thinking that I was like Icarus. I was falling because my wax wings had melted, and because I wanted to meet a better guru. And as soon as I had those thoughts, the power that the guru gave me just kind of drained out of myself in a matter of a few minutes. And I thought, wow, that is such a power of thought. Chandru Ben just gave me 2 lessons, but I wasn't ready for it because I was coming down from the bhakti. So I turned it off after 2 lessons. And then after about a year, I was ready for the course. I asked God, my last main prayer that I gave in my bhakti stage was for God to bring me my true path, because I didn't know what it was, and I didn't want to go traveling the whole world to find it. And so within a month, God himself came to me and told me more or less that he was my path. And so so after I found out my true path, Dr. Harold Stretfield became my teacher, and he was such a good teacher. He told me that my first meditation in Raj Yoga is very important. He said in his first meditation he saw Brahma Baba, and I thought, oh, wow, this must be very important. So I made as much effort as I could muster in that first meditation, and Dr. Harold was guiding the meditation. He was saying a few words, and we did the eye-to-eye contact. And so what happened was the whole room filled with light, and all I could see in that light was Harold Brothers' eyes, two eyes floating in the white light. And so then the meditation stopped after maybe 10 minutes. And I told him my experience. And he told me he thought Raj Yoga was right for me. And so I agreed. That was a tremendous experience.
It's really beautiful how you shared, how you brought all memories alive. So Surendra, would you like to share some of your beautiful experiences with Sister Chandru and how she impacted your life?
So I had the opportunity and the luck to know Chandru for 35 years. When I first came to Gyan through Chimanbai and Savita Ben. And the way I remember Chandru is she was a great leader, and she could, as Brahma says, nabj dekhe, read the pulse of the person and how to give the knowledge, how to do the palna and all that. So I got a great palna from Chandru as well as from the Gita Ben. So my role in the early years was basically to all the Maharathis who come and visit San Francisco. Chandru would ask me to give them the tour of the San Francisco area, all the sightseeing. And so that way I had the opportunity to be exposed to the Dadi Janki, Dadi Prakashmani, various other Maharathis who visited our center. One of the reason I'm still here in the Bay Area is that when I first came to Gyan, 2 years later, I got the permanent job, and I was in a contract employee before, and I got a permanent position with a big company, but it was in Savannah, Georgia. And I asked Chandru, what should I do? So he said, well, you will miss the Palna, you will not be able to come to the class, or you will not be able to get the Murlis. And those days, the mail was the only way you get the Murlis. There was no phone or no voicemail or anything like that. And still I was not sold. It was a great opportunity. So then I asked my current boss, and either the Baba or Chandru, just Prerna or whatever, he basically said, if you leave California, you will never come back here. And this California has the best schools that you will never be able to send your kids to, the colleges. And that's basically what sold me. And I'm still here. The other thing that I remember, like Hema Ben said, she is more or less like an architect. She is able to visualize in multi-dimension the various projects, and when we are building the Anubhuti, she will be able to tell where to put the walls, where to put the bathrooms, and all that, which even I was not able to visualize, but she had the complete vision there. So she is one of the great leader, and be able to, as Jignesh Bhai said, be able to see in multi-dimension from the various point of view. And so that's how I remember her the most. So,
Thank you. Thank you. So we also have Sister Carolyn. She has been with Sister Chandru for a long period of time. She has served in Seattle. She has served in Hawaii. She has served in Anubhuti. She is very close to, of course, from London. Yeah, Carolyn Wayne, please.
Om Shanti. Actually, I didn't serve in Hawaii. That was Sister Roslyn. But I was in Seattle, and I was on my own for 3 years. And I did call Chandru Ben every so often for guidance, and as well in Anubhuti. And like Jignesh said, her response always was very simple and very practical and very accurate. And just say a few words and it solved everything. And also, I was there one time. She was on her way up to Vancouver, and she stayed with me. And then I drove her up, and it just happened to be snowing that day. And I had fairly recently gone down a hill backwards in the ice, and so I was a little bit scared of the snow. But she was so natural and easygoing, but she thought it was quite funny that I wouldn't go up hills in the snow. Anyway, it was quite fun. And then when I was new, my very first trip to Madhaban, Baba didn't come that year, and she took a group of us on a bus. And I remember seeing her when we visited these centers, and it was so lovely. The people were so sweet and generous, and but they didn't have very much, and we slept on the floor. And after seeing her in San Francisco as a queen, it was amazing to me how she could still be such a queen on the floor. And that was very impressive to me. And coming then to Anubhuti, my most favorite experience, I think when we went all to Lake Tahoe, San Francisco family and Anubhuti family, and rented a cabin, and Chandru Ben came with us. And I remember sitting out on the porch in the evening and sharing, and it was always a very family feeling. And we'd also have meetings in Anubhuti, and that was really special. Her vibrations always lifted everything up, and she'll definitely be missed.
Yeah, it's a beautiful experience. We should definitely do that Tahoe trip in the name of Sister Chandru again. So we also invite Brother Dwayne whenever he's ready. Please do come. So in the meantime, we have Mohan Jain. Brother, would you like to share?
Sure. Om Shanti, everybody. We are remembering a very powerful soul, and many of us have had good experiences with Chandru Ben. And to me, I've known Chandru Ben for more than 22 years now. And, in our lives, we get connected to certain individuals, and we become close to some. And when we become close, we are able to open our hearts and share personal problems, issues, and then you will get to hear their words of wisdom. And I found few qualities, I would say like 3 or 4 qualities from Chandruban that made me become close to her. The first thing is Chandruban is very easygoing. She is very light. She will not go too much into, asking a lot of things for you. And she was, as I said, right, easygoing. So I became, casual with her. And second thing is, she doesn't, she, at least with me, she never micromanaged me, like policing, what you do, what, and all that stuff. She just gave me a free hand. Okay. And that I felt was very good. Some people need guidance. Hey, you do this, you do like that. But some just need a free hand. And Chandruban gave me that free hand. She did not interfere in my things, to ask too many questions for me. Another thing I made me close with Chandruban is every conversation that I had when I asked for advice, suggestion, the words that she spoke were for my own benefit. She said that with genuinity, not that, to please me. She did it from a spiritual perspective. And the fourth quality, I think, with Chandruban is she created that atmosphere of trust. I was able to trust Chandruban. The main difference between Maharathis like Chandruban and other effort makers is with the degree of faith. The faith that Maharathis have, whether within themselves, with Baba, with the drama, with the Brahmin family, their faith is amazing. And because of that, there is a lot of conviction in what they say. When they say something, it will happen. And that I experienced with Chandruban. I spent a lot of time of my spiritual journey, and she, guided me. She brought me to do Baba's service. I'm going to share one profound impact. Of course, I had a lot of experiences with Chandruban, but I know there are a lot of speakers today, but I will share one which was very, very powerful for me. And I take you all back to 2008. Chandruban had visited our Laukik family in 2003 in Bangalore. She had seen all of our family members. In 2008, my mom, my younger sister, my second older brother, his wife, and their daughter, all 5 of them lived in our home in Bangalore. And I know when a new person come in to the family and in a joint family kind of setup, there will be conflicts, rifts that happen. And so there used to be this blaming, criticizing, raising the voice, conflicts. And basically it was like 2 political parties in the same family. My mom and sister one side, my brother, wife, daughter one side, 2 parties. So whenever I used to talk to my mom and my sister, they never shared about the conflicts they were having. But they're saying, oh, everything is good. And then even when I visited them, they used to kind of shield it. But everything has a, tipping point. a saturation limit. And it reached where the words become more angry and they lose their control and they started to speak something which are, not beneficial for the relationship or the harmony within the family. And so when I slowly noticed this in the calls of the conversation that I used to have with my mom and my sister, they used to cry on the phone. This is what is happening, which they never shared for a few years. Everything starts to build up slowly. And it reached a point where they had to share these things. And then I also decided, something has to be done. And everybody in the family, I have two older brothers, one who lives in the US, and I have other sisters. Everybody decided, okay, let us sell the property and then each one get their own share and lead their own life happily. Because this was going too much. And other thoughts was, hey, this happens in every family. Issues are there, but you need to solve it. Somebody has to accept. Somebody has to change. So these kind of thoughts were going on. And then since I mentioned about Chandruban that I was comfortable and close with her to share this, which is personal. Now, you don't share certain things with everybody. You will share with somebody who you know that you can trust. So I shared with Chandruban whatever I shared now with all of you. And Chandruban, look at the spiritual advice that Chandruban gives. Okay? Chandruban listened to me and she said, your mom at this age needs to lead a peaceful life. She doesn't need to go through this kind of peacelessness and conflict within the family. Whenever Chandruban spoke with these kind of issues, Chandruban used to be switched on. When I say switched on, she used to be connected to Baba. Every word that she spoke had spiritual wisdom and also spiritual power. Why I say this is, whatever the advice she gave will make everybody, all parties involved, to accept that. That is spiritual power because it is combined power of Shiv Baba. And Chandruban said this, your mom doesn't need this. And so you talk to your mom and tell her that she has to have a chat with my older brother and tell him, hey, I don't need to go through this in my life at this age. I want to lead a peaceful life. I am going to live in this home as long as I am alive. Okay? I will not leave this home. I'll be here. Now, you and your family leave this home, live outside separately, and you can come and go, but you have to live separately. This is my home. And immediately I got a thought at the time and asked Chandruban, Benji, if you say my brother, his wife and daughter to go away, only my mom and my sister will be left. How can they manage this place? How will they do the maintenance? Because they were not exposed to doing all of these things. And Benji said, don't even worry about it. Everything will work out very smoothly. Her words, when she said these things to me, first I got convinced what she was saying. none of us in the family had this kind of a thought what Chandru Ben gave. And she had a conversation with my brother, my mom, and there was resistance because they lived there for a while. But yet, when he said these words had spiritual power, spiritual wisdom, everybody involved in that party has to accept it. So after a while, they accepted it and they left and started to live outside. Close relatives said, they complained to my mom saying that how could you send your own son outside of your home? This is not right what you did. She had to take all of these things. But Chandru Ben's advice was so accurate, so powerful, and supremely correct. It is 14 years or 15 years today. My mom and my sister, they're absolutely leading a peaceful and happy life even today. Importantly, my brother, his wife and daughter, they are leading a happy life as well. The relationship is beautiful today. And this, is a real situation. And because of her faith, which I was an effort maker at that time, but when Chandru Ben gave these words, this advice, I remember her. And look, she created peace, not in just myself, but everybody in the family, because she has seen everyone in our family.
It's beautiful.
I have few others, but I know you have people in this, so I stop at this. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much, Mohan Bhai. So we have beautiful experiences with each one. So we have Brother Dwayne and also Sister Veena and also Jaswanti Ben. Dwayne Bhai, would you like to go? So he's one of the initial pillars from 70s
Hello.
and 80s. Yes, please.
Yes, I first came to Baba in San Francisco Center in 1980. I had some powerful vision experiences, and then I met the sisters at the San Francisco Center after that, and fulfilled the search, I guess you might say, in my journey of trying to find the source, the one. So I would have to say that, yes, Chandru Ben was fairly quiet, powerful presence. And she was very merciful and like her father. And would listen and was very patient. And when there was decisions to be made, I remember like in here at Anubhuti, different brothers would be like, no, let's do it this way. No, let's do it that way. And then she would come on these monthly meetings and would just sit down. And she'd hear about our ideas, and but most of the time she would just talk about how we all need to get along, and never really caused any more. She helped us to resolve and figure out the situation without us getting heated up about it. She always was calming and helped us to cooperate because we had our differences. So that's what I remember the most, I think, is her calmness, steadfast smiling.
Thank you.
Om Shanti.
Thank you. So Jaswanti Ben, whenever you're ready, before that we'll have Veena Ben. So Veena Ben has very close to, Veena Ben, would you like to unmute yourself? Yeah, she's very close to Sister Chandru, and definitely she has big influence on Sudarshan Kapoor and whole Krishna family.
I don't know. I have hard time sharing in a few words. I don't know if it is possible when you can have all the mothers who live at home, not in the center, with whom and how Chandru Ben interacted and how much she gave to the families would be something very much in my heart. Because that's unique, it's different, it's special. So I see that as something would be more befitting. And I'm thinking of there are many mothers, but and you know them, some of them have been very close, not like me, always far, not always been there, but she no doubt made me feel close right from the beginning. And in short, right now, what I would like to say is that Brahmin family did not know that there was anything beyond the Northern California and Southern California. They didn't know what is Fresno. They didn't know, had never been to the valley. And Chandru Ben came here and kept coming, and so did Gita Ben. We kept nurturing this family, and a lot of service therefore has happened because of that. And I take it from one more point that was brought up by somebody else, that how she saw some uniqueness and never worried about differences. So although I walked in 92, admitted in my old age, going for a doctoral degree, and Brahmin family wondering who is this, but it wasn't her. She had faith, and she often told me, you are going to teach. You're going to teach a lot. And so she always brought that point. And we have had many interesting classes over the years in Fresno. So I think I'll stop here. But would be good if we had an opportunity as Chandru Ben's contribution in the family. And I would like to be able to share more and hope more mothers would share too. So that's just my request.
Thank you, Veena Ben. It was really nice. Now Jaswanti Ben, she's from Vancouver, and she also received lots of sustenance when Chandru Ben and Denise Ben went from Toronto. They drove from there to Vancouver, and Jaswanti Ben was the first mother, I'm sure, that time. Jaswanti Ben?
Om Shanti to everyone. Chandru Ben was like our mother for Vancouver, and her and Dennis Ben used to come in beginning very often and give us good sustenance. And when I was young Brahman, I went to Madhuban in Baba's meeting, and all of a sudden she called me. And I went to her. she gave me candle and she said, take this to Baba, because I did not know. Everybody brought something, but I cannot. So she gave me, and she is the one sent me to Baba first time. And then after that, when my husband passed, was in a hospital, and I asked her, Ben, can we go? She said yes. And she came. That time was winter time, but still she didn't say no. She went, and we go, and she said, Ben, I told brother, just go, because I will take care of Jaswanti Ben. And I give the permission on behalf of you. So after we went in the car, she said to me like that, because he was unconscious, right? So that, and then on and often, our center was go in trouble. All the time I call, and she gave me sustenance, like everybody shared. She was angel, she was sweet, like motherly. She did so much for Vancouver. When she come Vancouver, she's so happy, because she said one time, our San Francisco area is dry. Your is so greenery in Vancouver. So I said, Ben, come often. And she used to come Rakhi time, Christmas time, and make us happy, give us sustenance. And then one time she came again. My cousin brother was young. He passed away. So I told her, that time we had so many programs, but in her tight schedule, she said, okay, Ben, I'll come only 5-10 minutes. And when she came, the family was so appreciated, and the vibration completely changed. But I had to come with Chandru Ben at center. But next day, my children told me, Mom, when Chandru Ben came, everybody was like kind of released. And she did that good service there too for me. So many times she helped us. Om Shanti. I also stopped this. I did not know I have to speak all of a sudden, but I keep in thank you all the time when I remember, since she passed away.
Yeah, thank you. There is,
She left the body and become angel. So she was angel before, and now she will be more like ancestor for us too. Om Shanti. Thank you to listen to me. Om Shanti.
Thank you, Jaswanti Ben. Thank you, Veena Ben.
Hello, Om Shanti.
Om Shanti. Yes, Indira Ben, say
Yes.
something.
Yeah. Well, she was a very good cook. So that was the main point. And she was teaching cooking, like a cooking classes, So we enjoyed that part. And also where there was something, little bit argument about spices and this and that with other mothers or like that. So she always says, just forget it. You will get the golden age sooner, So forget about all those difference of opinion and all those things. So she was looking for a golden age already. The most important thing was, I remember that in Anubati, we were celebrating Mother's Day, and it was a renovation, construction was going on. And they were using a trolley to put all the cements and bricks and all those stuff. So she said to me that get that trolley. I said, okay, I'll get the trolley. Then she said, sit on it. I said, are you kidding me? Then she said, no, I'm not kidding you. And she pushed me. There is a slopey thing. It was because that small Dadi Janki used to stay in that room. So from there you go, it's a sloppy. So that's how she gave right to each mother that day. And so this way she was a good creativity. She had it, without spending money. She she keep on changing recipe last minute also. And whatever you have in the house, you just use it and do it. Make it something new. So she was very, very creative. And she was very appreciating also, especially for mothers. And sometimes she was asking me that, did you have a fight? That's why you came here? I said, no, no, I didn't have a fight. She said, you are welcome, but if you have a fight, you are not coming here. And when we were in Bombay, so we visited her home and also her mother. And she was so much happy about that. And I took my uncle with us, to Bombay. So they really enjoyed that part also. Om Shanti. Thank you.
Om Shanti.
Yeah.
There's so many beautiful experiences each and every one had. And what Indira Ben reminded that she was very creative. And because they started Baba's service in America with like a penny, and she taught us how to, whatever little bit left over, how to make something like another recipe. And it was really very nice to learn about that you never waste anything. So that was also like Chandru Ben's speciality. And wherever I gone, especially one incident, I just remember that I went from here to London, and they asked me to make the pancake. So I took a pancake flour from here, and there was two groups. All the youngsters, they wanted the sweet pancake, and all the mothers, they wanted savory pancake.
Yeah.
So it was easy to make like a sweet pancake, because then on the top you have to just use that, maybe honey, maybe maple. But the savory, then I just went and checked in the refrigerator what the sabjis remain. So I noticed that there was tomato and potato sabji was there. So what I did, I crush and I just mix it in that and just put little cilantro. And I make all the mothers, they really enjoyed that. And they was asking me about recipe. I say, first thing you all finish, and then I will let you know about the recipe. So when they all finish the food and then ask me, tell me it was very delicious. And then I said, go in the refrigerator and see your sabji is there or not. And then mother will say, what? You just fed us the leftover sabji and mixed it? I said, but you all ate with such a great love. So that was what Chandru Ben was really taught us, that nothing should go waste, but how you can create. So it was very nice that minds become more creative. So you don't feel like boredom, that every time something newness you can create. So many, many beautiful like incidents and sharing will be. So we can just absorb all her qualities and the virtues, and especially the lightness. Feel inside. Experience your being is light. I'm light. My whole body becomes light. This vibration of lightness, let travel across the world, and whoever comes into these connections, they experience this lightness. Feel it deeply inside. Experience it. And whoever you can meet, think, be, let they can also experience the light. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti.